People who have had near-death experiences often describe really very similar things, though they vary by culture. Like a lot of people experience something like a moving towards the light. In the United States, where 63% of people are Christians, the light is oftenly identified as a loved one or an angel. Meanwhile, Hindus oftenly identify the light as a messenger of the god of death. Other things commonly described by people coming back from the brink of death include an out-of-body experience, like feeling like you can perceive the world from outside your body, or a feeling of serenity, peace, awareness of being dead, or painlessness and love, or a tunnel experience with the feeling of moving up, or like a life review, like my life flashed before my eyes type deal. The vast majority of NDEs are positive, but some 23% of them are really not. They can include anguish, distress, a feeling of void, or hellish places. Each individual's experience can include a variety, or none of those things, and only about 10 to 20% of people who come close to death in the first place have an NDE at all. Many people give religious explanations to near-death experiences. Some of them will write books or make movies about the experience. Like 2010's The Boy Who Came Back from Heaven, which sold 10 million copies and spent 206 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. On the other hand, there's a bunch of different scientific models attempting to explain NDEs too. But it's a hard thing to test because people don't generally die in an MRI or EEG machine. One study, though, did get an EEG on 4 dying patients. It found a surge in brain activity at the time of cardiac arrest, particularly in areas associated with interior visual experience. And that could be responsible for the experience of the super bright, painless light. Or it's possible that blood flow is reduced first in the visual periphery of the retina, and that could be responsible for the experience of seeing a tunnel. Many people have out-of-body experiences on drugs. Some pilots and astronauts in training, they get flicked around till they pass out and that high-gravity training machine experience a sort of light NDE. But my favorite studies on near-death experiences are the awareness during resuscitation, or AWARE studies. They set out to study the out-of-body experience aspect of NDEs. What they did is they set up shelves in rooms where patients were most likely to undergo cardiac arrest in 15 hospitals across the US and UK. They put up easily identifiable images on the shelf facing the ceiling where neither the hospital staff or the patient could see it. So if the patient were to leave their body and look down on the theater, they'd be able to see the image as well and report back on it when they come back for the brink of death. Out of the 2,060 cardiac arrest events in those hospitals during the 4 years, only 101 out of the 140 survivors could complete the questionnaire. And of those that completed the questionnaire, only 9 of them experienced an NDE. And only 2 of those experienced an out-of-body experience, and one of them got too ill to continue. That one guy, though, did report some stuff that actually happened minutes after his heart stopped. Like the robotic words of the defibrillator saying, "Shock the patient." That guy who remembered the defibrillator wasn't in a room with the image on the shelf. So AWARE 2 was started in 2016 and a condensed version of the report was released in 2019. This time, out of 465 patients, 44 were successfully resuscitated and 21 of them were interviewed. 4 of those that were interviewed had an out-of-body experience, but none of them saw the image on the shelf. Personally, I don't think anybody will ever be able to report back on the image on the shelf. But I think it'll be cool to learn more about NDEs and what goes on in the brain as science continues to look into it. Oh yeah, that kid who that book and movie was based on said in 2016 that he made it all up. Have you or someone you know ever had a near-death experience?